3, 2, 1. Y'all hear that? I'm back. Another edition of Calcast coming up. Get that blood flowing first. Thursday night, almost a weekend. Big fight weekend. Valdez versus Berchelt. Adrian Broner is back. I tried. We're going to get into it, but there it is. Yeah. All right, it's enough of that. Welcome to another edition of Calcast. Calcast 8, I believe this is. 8 times we've done this. The channel is back and popping. Thanks to the new subscribers. Hit those alerts. Hit the sub button. Check out the channel. Check out all the podcasts. Check me out on Twitter. Y'all see the scroll down there. Calix Boxing 2 on Twitter. Calix Boxing 2.0 on YouTube. Y'all know where to find me. CalixBoxing.com coming soon. Gonna have the articles written again. But wanted to do a quick one tonight just to touch on these fights. And let me get the betting odds up. That's really what I wanted to touch on here tonight. Return of the Mac. Man, I'm tired now. Just got a workout in and did some dancing for y'all. But look, man, let's start off with this while I pull up the betting odds. Adrian Broner, y'all saw the title. Now a full-blown welterweight. It's official. Like, dude, Adrian Broner again. AB is back. AB is back in full effect. This fight was supposed to be against Santiago. Santiago was supposed to be at 140. Was supposed to be a junior welterweight fight. 48 hours before the fight, what happens? We know what happens. I think we all knew that something like this was going to happen before the fight. The next thing that happens, hopefully not though, is a positive COVID test or something like that. But let me pull up these interesting odds here. Yeah, but Broner, this fight's going to be at 147 now. So it went from a 140 fight to 147. They're saying that it was mutual. It was mutual. But we all know the A side pulls the strings, right? So Santiago was saying they didn't really want to comment on it, but we all know how this thing works. Adrian Broner couldn't make 147. I mean, couldn't make 140, which, I mean, I could have told you he couldn't make one. He hasn't made 140 since 2017, and he really struggled to make it then. He's a big-boned guy. Just look at his dad. So now the fight's going to be at 147. We all know how it works. He couldn't make 140. He says, I can't make 140. It's impossible. Just do the fight at 147. So the management promotion comes and says, look, our guy can't make it. This fight has to be at 140, not 147. It has to be 147, not 140. They say, look, show me the money. Show me the money. Hey, what's up, Mr. Boxing Today? Thanks for tuning in. So I'm sure Santiago got paid handsomely to move this fight to welterweight, and he was probably told, look, if we're going to pay you this money, just say it was mutual. Just say, don't comment on it. No comment. Let's move this fight to a welterweight fight. And that's what happened. That's what happened. AB just can't make 140. He just can't make 140. They shouldn't have done this fight at 140. It's a 140. He's a welterweight, man. He's a full-blown, full-time welterweight. Stop trying to make this guy a 140-pound junior welterweight at this point. He's a one total bullshit. Santiago probably was around 140. Yeah, he was, but you can say it's unfair to him, but I'm telling you what happens. These guys love the contenders love this. Same thing happened to, I believe it was Eloy Perez when Broner couldn't make weight. These guys love when the contenders love when this happens because they come and they say, look, you want me to fight on short notice at this weight? Show me the money. Show me the money. And these guys get paid under the table. They sign a little contract saying, let your guy give me this money and I'll go through with the fight. When Eric Morales tested positive for an illegal substance, Danny Garcia said, you want me to go through with the fight? Show me the money. These guys, I'm telling you, they love when this happens because you're either going to beat a guy or you're not. Yeah, it is an unfair advantage. I'm sure that Santiago drained himself all the way down to 140. But at the same time, man, when you're the contender and you're set up to lose, go get your money. Go get your money. And look, I'd love to see Santiago pull off an upset. I'm sure a lot of people would as well, although it'd be better for boxing if Broner won the fight. But for Santiago as the underdog, as a guy who's dealing with the politics right now, you'd love to see him pull the upset. But with the deck stacked against him, you try to get as much money as possible when something happens like this instead of pulling out of the fight. There were two options for him: pull out of the fight or get some money and go through with the fight. And that's where we are. And you have to understand that when you're fighting Adrian Broner, stuff like this is likely to happen. It's more likely than not to happen. I mean, it's very rare that you fight Adrian Broner and in the lead up to the fight, everything goes as planned. It's just, and like I said, man, it's still, we're a little under 48 hours to this fight. Something else is likely to happen. I mean, who knows? But I think this is going to turn out to be a good thing for Santiago to get some extra money out of Broner. And they're going to go through with the fight. As far as the odds go, pulling them up right now, wanted to go through the betting odds tonight. I mean, they got more fights listed than I thought. I don't even think, oh, there it is. Broner is minus 697 and Santiago plus 482. So look, if you think that Santiago is a live dog, which who knows? There's not much. You can go off the record 14-0-1, but there's just not much to go off of as far as the opponents to say who this guy really, which could make him dangerous. And that's what I'm saying. Look, if you think that Santiago can pull off the upset, if he has a shot, if Broner's not taking this thing seriously, plus 48.82, man, why not throw $20 down on the fight? And you almost get 5-1. You throw $20 down, you almost get $100 if he pulls off the upset. And if you have $20 to lose, why not? It's one of those fights. It's not one of those fights where I see something with Santiago. He can pull off this upset. There's just not enough there to make an educated guess. And if you're going to bet Broner, there's just not enough there. The odds, you got to bet $697 to win 100. So this is one of those fights that throw $20 on Santiago, see if it sticks. It's one of those things. Man, if this happened on the Top Rank Golden Boy or Matchroom, let me get these comments up. Matchroom card, the PBC fangirls will be out in full force talking shit there. No accountability over at the PBC. Of course, you have the Bloods and Crips out here of the promotion world, I'm sure. But it is what it is, man. I think this is going to turn out to be a good thing for Santiago to get some extra money. And I just tend to think of this as if he was going to beat Broner. If he wasn't going to beat Broner at 140, I don't know if he's going to beat him at 147, that type of thing. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. Either Broner's taking this thing seriously or he's not. If Broner's taking this thing seriously, I think he wins this fight. But the fact that he couldn't get down to 140, either it's impossible for him or he's not taking the fight seriously. I don't know what else to say about it, but I think it's a good thing for Santiago to get some extra money because I'm sure that's what happened. I hope AB looks good on Saturday. He's still young enough to get a title elimination type of fight. He can still carry a promotion with the trash. He's good enough to beat any top guy, though. I fully agree with everything you just said, and I've talked about that. I hope he wins. It's good for boxing. It gives, much like I talked about with Comey, it gives these top guys another name to beat at that division in order to, another guy to pad that resume. Now, can he beat a top guy? I don't think so. I just don't think so. I've talked about that ad nauseum over the years. I just don't think he's that guy who can win that big fight, much like Danny Garcia. I think their ceiling is lower than that. However, he almost did it against Sean Porter in that 12th round. Speaking of Sean Porter, I don't know if y'all saw that. Steve Kim was on Twitter saying that he turned down a $2 million offer to fight Terrence Crawford. I hope that's not true. I hope that's not. And if it is true, I hope he has a better offer out there, because you can't hide behind that unless there's a better offer out there. So I hope that's not true. I'm just going to write it off as a rumor right now, because I've always held Sean Porter to a higher standard than a lot of those other PBC welterweights. But if he's turning down $2 million to fight Terrence Crawford, not a good look. Not a good. Somebody give Terrence Crawford a fight, man. Give him his fight. And the fact that they're working out Sean Porter versus Terrence Crawford tells me that Manny Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford may not happen either, if that's the fight they were working on. Hope it's not true. Say it ain't so. But as far as AB goes, I'm with you. It'd be good for him if he wins. It'd be good for boxing if he wins, gives another name at the welterweight division, which he should be at. This fight shouldn't have been at 140 to begin with. Why? After a long layoff, especially with a guy who struggled with weight, why was this fight at 140 to begin with? But at 147, gives you another name, gives these top fighters another guy to beat, and great trash talker, great promotion, be great for boxing. And I don't think he can be the top guy. I just don't. But Jason Valdez versus Gabriel. Now, this is one that's sneaky if you're into gambling. Okay, Valdez versus Flores Jr. Flores Jr., not a guy with much pop. Now, it's boxing. So you walk into this fight, Flores Jr. is the house fighter. He's the guy they want to win. So it might not be smart to bet against Flores Jr., but the odds, man, Flores Jr. is at minus 1,200 here. That is wide. Valdez is plus 706, man. Valdez had two tough fights in 2020 where he was competitive against top opposition at that division. And Flores, this is a big step up for him. So if you're looking for some value there is some value for Valdez at plus 706. Another one of those fights, man. If you have $50, you don't mind losing. I mean, look at the value in that. $50 wins you $350 if Valdez wins the fight. So these are things to look at. This could be the underdog weekend where you just throw a little bit of money down on these underdogs and see what sticks. Throw some money, throw $20 down on Santiago, throw 40, 50 down on Valdez. And if one of them hits, and I'm going to get into Valdez versus Berchelt, I think Valdez plus 297 is disrespectful. And I understand Berchelt is a big guy. He's plus 381, arguably the top guy at 130. Some people say Berchelt, some people say Tank Davis, but Berchelt, you can say he's the top guy at 130. You can say Valdez is outgunned, oversized in this fight. A guy who, if it gets into a war, doesn't stand a chance against Berchelt, just outgunned. However, plus 297 for a guy who's 28-0, 22 knockouts, has some pop, was heavily avoided at 126. Why not throw some money down on him too? Like I said, man, this could be the underdog weekend. You throw 20 down on Santiago, throw 40 down on Valdez, throw 40 down or Valdez, throw 40 down on Valdez. See what happens. You throw 40 down on Valdez and that hits, that's a $120 payday right there. Profit. One of those three, out of the three, one of the three might hit, man. I don't know. This could be one of those weekends, like Warrington last weekend. Could this be underdog season? Could this be the underdog season? We'll see. AB is a bum. He doesn't deserve any big names moving forward. Give that shine to other deserving fighters. That's one way to look at it. In a fair world. However, this is boxing. The guy who brings the WWE to the sport, who can talk up a promotion, can talk up a game. We're talking about Broner right now. And he's fighting a guy who nobody knows. And there are other big fights this weekend. other evenly matched fights this weekend. So um, Broner's going to get the fights, man. If he continues to fight and he wins fights like Santiago, if he beats inferior opposition, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt because what he's done in the sport leading up to this. And you got to give the fact that I disagree with you that he's a bum. I think that's harsh. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt in that he does have heart, man. He has shown that he has heart in some of these fights. But I understand. I fully get that he's rubbed people the wrong way. I get that. Dominic Brazil, plus 214 against Otto Wallen. Could this be underdog weekend? Now, Brazil was starched in his last fight. Absolutely starched against Wilder. What's up, D-Style? Shout out D-Style. Good show again tonight, my man. Brazil was starched in his last fight. Starched. He's plus 214. Wallen, his only loss, man, was he fought good against Fury. That was a good fight for him, a good showing. That's his only loss, man. I think he has a clear advantage here in the boxing category, technical ability. Brazil, a guy who's crossing over from football, more of a late bloomer into boxing. I would defer to Mr. Boxing today, the heavyweight guy, when it comes to this fight. But another one, D-Style thinks is going to be a decapitation. Is that going to be a finish him type of thing? Wallen's going to decapitate him. I think it'll be a good fight while it lasts, but I think he's going to stop Brazil. However, the betting odds, plus 214. If you're a believer in Brazil, man, there is some value in these fights. There's some value in these fights. I know that D-Style does not think that Valdez has a shot, but plus 297, man. Why not throw some money you had to lose on that fight to see if it sticks? Why not throw $40 down on the fight to see if you can hit 120? Why not throw? Dude, I cannot believe Valdez is plus 706 against Flores Jr. Valdez is a live dog in this fight. Obviously, he's not the house fighter. Obviously, it's boxing. You have the judges stacked against you. You have the referee stacked against you, all that. So it's tough when it comes to gambling on this sport. But you throw $20 down on Valdez, you win 140 if he wins. Profit, plus your money back. Plus 706, man, that's disrespectful to my man Valdez, who had 2 tough fights in 2020. Has a lot of experience in the division, and Gabriel Flores Jr. This is a step up for him. So that's the most disrespectful odds I see so far is Valdez at plus 706. But Santiago, it's at plus 506 for him. So they're giving Santiago a better chance of beating Broner than they're giving Valdez of beating Flores Jr. I find that a bit odd, but Broner, man. Broner. Let's see what this comment is. Who do you think Ruiz fights in this comeback fight? You think he gets back? I heard that it was they're still trying to make the Arreola fight. If you're talking about heavyweight Ruiz. So I hope that's the fight. That would be an incredible fight at the heavyweight division. All action. Beautiful fight. The heavyweight's heating up, man. Heating up. But I like all these odds. This could be underdog weekend. Throw a little bit down on these underdogs and see what sticks. That's my point tonight. Throw a little bit down on these underdogs. See what happens. A little bit of money that you have to lose. All right? In no way or fashion am I saying that Valdez should win this fight. I'm not saying Santiago should win this fight. All I'm saying is the value is with those guys. It's not with Broner because you got to throw a ton of money down just to win a little bit of money. It's not with Flores. You got to throw 1,200 on the table to win 100. The value is with these underdogs this weekend because who knows, man? One of these guys could shock like Warrington was shocked against Lara last weekend, which, by the way, Warrington has exercised his rematch clause, immediate rematch clause. So good for him. Good for him. Wilder has to come back versus Ruiz. I'd love to watch that fight. I would love that fight. And I think Wilder wins that fight. Wilder has to get a body. Wilder has to get out of this funk, man. Just get away from the microphone, get back in that gym, get fights as soon as possible, catch a body. He catches a body, gets on the microphone after the fight, he's back. All right? He's back in contention. People get their attention off of Glovegate and all this other nonsense. Wilder has to catch a body. And if it's Ruiz, let it be Ruiz. But I heard that they were trying to make Ruiz versus Arreola still in 2021. I hope so. And I hope they will be able to do it in front of fans, because there'd be a good bit of fans that would go to that fight. But yeah, just to recap, man, Santiago versus Broner, he's plus 506. Valdez is plus 297. I want to talk about Valdez versus Berchelt real quick, because here's what you look at for that fight. And I know a lot of people are writing Valdez off going into this fight. But here's what you look for. How successful will he be boxing early in that fight? If he has any bit of success, then it buys him time, because we all know that war is going to happen at some point. The civil war is going to happen at some point, whether it be round 4, round 5, round 6. As D-Style explained the other night, it's going to turn into 2 pit bulls fighting each other. And Berchelt has the bigger jaw. Perfect way of putting it. So how long can he buy himself time by using angles in boxing? I tend to think it's not going to be long. The second thing to look at is how well will Valdez be taking his shots once that war starts. If Valdez starts eating those shots and still coming forward, look out. We got ourselves a war, and this is an even fight. Then it goes from plus 297 Valdez to toss-up. Toss-up. Because he has some crisp shots on the inside. He can go to the body against the bigger guy. He can get on the inside and go to the body and dig into the body and have some success and slow down the bigger guy if he can take those shots. So that's the 2 things to look at. Will he be able to be a boxer puncher early in the fight? 1. 2, will he be able to take Berchelt's shots once the war starts in round 4, 5, 6, or maybe even earlier? And if he does, we've got ourselves a fight. And we got ourselves a hell of a fight. Fight of the year type of fight. One of those fights 5 years from now you'll be talking about and going back on YouTube and watching. One of those fights where you're going to call for an immediate rematch because you want to see it again. In a trilogy because you want to see it again after that. So those are things to look at, man. Those are 2 things that I'm looking at going into this fight. And if Valdez can take those shots, man, I'm telling you, he's a sharper, shorter puncher. He's a sharper, shorter puncher against a bigger guy. He can dig into the body and make this a fight if he can take those shots. And I'm banking on him taking those shots, and I'm pulling for the upset in this one. I think Valdez is going to work his magic, man. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that. The more I watch the footage, I think Berchelt's going to be there for Valdez to hit him with some shots on the inside. Thoughts on Virgil Ortiz? You see him contending against the top. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ortiz is a bad man. Oh, yeah. He'll be. Salute. It's good to be back, man. It's so good to be back. I'm glad. Good to be talking boxing again. Good to have these fights back. And it's a big fight weekend. It's a really good fight at ESPN card, man. I'm looking forward to it. And don't sleep on Valdez against Flores Jr. Flores Jr. can completely outclass him. It's possible, but don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. And check out those betting odds, man. There's some very good. There's some value in those underdogs. So just to recap, Berchelt, man, I know. And new. Look, man, two division titleists, legit 2 division titleists. A guy who was avoided at 126, so he had to move up to 130. That's my guy. That's my guy. I think he's going to pull off the upset. Valdez, Team Valdez. And but that's going to be a hell of a fight, man. Hell of a fight. That's the one to look forward to this weekend. But just to recap, man, look at those betting odds for the underdogs. There's value in those underdogs. Big fight. This is one of those fights that can be not only fight of the year, but fight of 2-3 years. You know, it'll be up there with fights of the decade if it can live, if it can heat up. If if he can take Berchelt shots. Big if. If not, then it's one of those fights you say, oh, Berchelt has arrived. And you kind of forget about the fight in a couple months. But you say Berchelt has arrived. Could be one of those too, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be fight of the year. Fight of the year. The heavyweights are back. I think Wallen beats Brazil. Another prediction. And Broner, just a full-blown welterweight. Full-time welterweight at this point. Dude, why in the world did they try to make this fight at 140? Yeah, check out this comment, D-Style. Anybody who messes with alligator. He has a pet alligator. Valdez has a pet alligator. You think he's worried about Berchelt? You think he's worried about that power when he's holding alligators? He's bottle feeding alligators? And you think he's worried about Berchelt's power? Come on, man. Come on. Like, I hope to be back on tomorrow night. It all depends on if date night happens, but I have a guest coming on tomorrow night, and I have a guest Tuesday night as well. So look out for that. This is Calcast 8. And just to recap, man, Broner. Why did they make that fight at 140? He's a 147-pounder. He's a welterweight. All right? You had one job, make weight. He just couldn't get down to it, man. Stop trying to make this guy a junior welterweight. He's a welterweight. And I'm sure Santiago got a nice little payday on the side for going through with this fight. So good for him. And all respect for him. And I wish him luck on Saturday night. Look, man, no harm in getting extra money on the side and pulling off an upset. But this is upset season, man. And this could be upset weekend. Look out for it. I am out, man. Team Valdez. Oscar Valdez will shock the world and new against Berchelt. Y'all hit me up. Calcast 9 coming tomorrow. I think it's Calcast 9 coming tomorrow night. I'm out.